Well, you guys wanted to see it, so here it is. A part 2 to 5 great fragrances that, to me, are indeed worth their hype. All 5 of these fragrances have been talked about across all kinds of YouTube channels. They have lots of traffic on Fragrantica, and many of you guys watching this video have probably tried these fragrances. If you haven't, for some odd reason, go down to the links and get caught up. Get some samples, check these fragrances out. If you've been hesitant or if you just never heard of them, then check out those links. There might even be some discounts down there. I've done quite a bit of preamble in the previous installments of this series explaining what hype is and how it corresponds to fragrances. If you want more of my perspective on that, then I'm going to link the previous video up here. Check out maybe the first 90 seconds of that video to get an idea of where I'm coming from. But just to give you a really brief overview of that information, the reason why I believe these fragrances are worth their hype is not because of the usual reasons why fragrances are hyped, which is typically one or all of these 3 attributes. A fragrance that allegedly gets tons of compliments, a fragrance that allegedly will last you until next spring, and a fragrance that can be super versatile. You can wear it anywhere and everywhere all year round. That is not why these fragrances to me are worth their hype. The reason why is because of the way they make me feel. When I wear them, they make me feel a certain way. They have a vibe, and unfortunately I can't explain it beyond that. There are no words for me to explain that to you. With all that out the way, let's dive right into these 5 worth the hype fragrances. This first one up here is from the house of Roja Parfum. I can see many of you guys not liking this fragrance, and I know that several of you do not like this when you've tried it. It is a little polarizing, and I'll explain why. This is called Burlington 1819. This was love at first sniff for me. I believe this came out maybe 3 or 4 years ago from the time I'm filming this video, and when I first got my nose on this, it hooked me. I knew this would be a fantastic, luxurious, elegant summer fragrance. This is the kind of fresh, citrusy fragrance you wear at night when you want to smell like $1 trillion. This is grapefruit, this is rum, this is like ambery warmth and woods and lots of spice, cumin being probably the most prominent, and that's going to be the reason why some of you guys don't like this fragrance. To some people, cumin smells sweaty. It smells a little bit too masculine or BO-ish. I've never been put off by cumin in fragrances for whatever reason, and I don't have a lot of experience with it in terms of eating, so I can't explain why. I think it's a one or the other thing. Either you love it or you don't. Maybe you can learn to love it, but I feel like most of you guys who don't like cumin will not take the time to try to love it. You're just not going near it, and I understand. This is just elevated stuff as far as a citrus-based fragrance goes. So sample first, as it goes with Roja, not cheap. So get you a decant first. I will link to what I can find down in the description. But let me know what you think. If you've tried Roja Parfum Burlington 1819, if you think it's worth the hype, let me know why. If you don't think it's worth the hype, let me know why as well. Either way, you're right. Up next is a fragrance that, to be honest with you, I don't wear a ton of these days, but I will always have it in my collection, and I will always appreciate it in videos like this. This is from the house of Cartier. It's Pasha Parfum. I blind bought this around the time it came out a handful of years ago. Once again, love at first sniff for me. This bears resemblance and pays homage to the original Pasha, which I believe came out in 1992. Does have a little bit of that kind of masculine, old school barbershop vibe, but it is much more modernized here. This just smells like a gentleman. This smells like a confident man. There is this boozy feeling. It's a little bit more nondescript than the Roja. It doesn't smell like whiskey or cognac or rum. It's just kind of this dark, sweet, wet, boozy note blended with some resins, blended with some smooth, kind of creamy sandalwood. There is a darkness to it while having a freshness, but it's not overtly fresh. It does not smell exactly like the typical fougere or barbershop fragrance. They kind of remove that soapy clean vibe that you got out of the original, and in this case this is definitely more nighttime oriented. It's definitely a little bit more sexy perhaps than the original, but it's also again a little bit more modernized. Does not smell outdated, does not smell too sophisticated, but it's definitely sophisticated. Let me know if you dig this one, if you think it's worth the hype. I definitely do. This is a stunning fragrance, and it drew a lot of attention to Cartier, who otherwise wasn't getting a ton of attention in the frag com, but they could still use more. Some of the most hype fragrances that I think are worth it are the ones that are kind of divisive. So there's going to be people who really, really love it and people who really don't love it and don't understand how people love it. And this might be one of those fragrances based on some of the feedback I've seen. This is from Argos and they call this Triumph of Bacchus. This is my little 30 ml bottle.
Super cute.
I traveled with it quite a bit so you can see some of the juice is gone here. And I think one of the biggest gripes that people have with this fragrance is that, at least based on what I've seen, it smells similar to something like Parfum de Marly Carlisle or Mancera Red Tobacco. Also, people say it smells like cough syrup. All of those things might be true to you. If you've never tried this and you get a sample, those things might be your reality. No one can control that and it's no one's fault. Either you like it or you don't, and it is what it is. But for me, I like this, and I like this a lot more than the other two fragrances I referenced. This just has much more nuance, much more depth, and it's way more smooth than those other fragrances. This is a rich, sweet, warm, spicy, fruity, boozy tobacco fragrance. A little bit earthy, but mostly sweet, and I will admit a little bit syrupy for sure. There's peach in here, maybe some apple. Again, there's some rum in here. I think there's saffron that makes it a little spicy. It smells elegant. It definitely smells like night out material, casual or dressed up. I think it can go either way. There's something special about this, and I think it catches some beautiful attention in the air. Argos is known for their sillage. At least in my experience, these fragrances leave these beautiful, smooth trails that smell expensive. They smell elegant. If you do want to check out Argos for yourself, if you haven't already, there's going to be a link down below. You can use the code FRESH10 to save some money if saving money is your thing. If not, then don't use the code. That is Argos Triumph of Bacchus. This fragrance has gotten a lot of love and I think it deserves every ounce of it. This came out a couple years ago from the house of Hermes, a beautiful flanker to the already legendary Terre Hermes line, and this is Terre Hermes Eau Givrée. Beautiful fragrance, once again captured me from first sniff. It's so cold smelling, it's icy, it's frozen, it's so refreshing. It smells like grapefruit in a glass of ice water, and you're in there and you're swimming in that concoction and it feels marvelous. So it is a little bit fruity, it is sharp, a little bit tart, so it does kind of make your mouth water. The juniper berry is what makes it cooling and fresh. There's maybe a touch of a green quality in the background, some woods. It's a perfect high heat summer fragrance. This is one of my absolute go-tos for a hot day out when I want something that just smells pretty casual and uplifting, but still has some substance to it. Way more substance than your average mainstream fresh designer or blue fragrance or out the shower freshie, anything like that. Whole lot more going on here. Brilliant stuff. Let me know if you dig this one and if you think it's worth the hype. Terre Hermes Eau Givrée. And our final fragrance, this came out, I believe, in 2017, and it took the community by storm. People were sniffing this and loving it right off the bat. I think overall, I've seen a whole lot more love and positivity for this scent than negativity, even though there is a bit of polarization going on. Some people are not going to enjoy this. It's going to be a little bit too much of this or a little bit too much of that, depending on your taste. From the house of Kilian, this is Black Phantom. I will say that I really liked Black Phantom. When I first tried it, I really like it. Now, I like it even more than when I first tried it years ago when it came out. I've tried several clones of it. I've always come back to the OG. The OG is the best, if you're asking me. I did a whole video about Alexandria's clone years ago. I think that video kind of blew up and I loved it at that time. I was also completely broke at that time, so I couldn't even dream of affording this bottle. So I was content with the clone, and that video is what it is. That was me at that time. But if you ask me today, if you had to choose between a clone or the OG for Black Phantom, all day, the original Black Phantom. This is a sweet, boozy coffee fragrance, maybe some chocolate in there, vanilla. It is rich, it is sweet and mouth-watering and delectable, but there is a darkness here. There's something kind of rough about it. I don't know if it's woods or leather or something of that nature. There's something about it that smells like it belongs on the body. It's not just desserts and coffee on a plate in front of you. It smells like a mysterious, seductive gentleman. It is lovely stuff. I cannot wait for it to cool down so I can get to wear this a little bit more than I wore it last year. I didn't wear it a ton, but I just got it last year. So let me know what you think of Black Phantom from Kilian. Do you think this is worth its hype? It's still being talked about here and there today. It's still on the shelves as far as I understand. I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. I'd be curious to see if the brand does some kind of flanker or follow up to this to bank off of its success. I'm actually kind of proud of them for having not done that just yet, because it's been a number of years since it came out, but you never know what the future holds. Anyway, once again, you let me know what you think of Black Phantom from Kilian. Is it worth the hype? it has received. Let me know what you think of these fragrances down in the comments. That's what this whole video is about. I want to start a discussion. I want to hear from you guys. And for whatever reason, as I said, if you have not yet tried these fragrances, then again, here's your time. Here's your chance to get caught up, get on the train, understand where all the hype is coming from, and form your own opinion. There's going to be links once again down in the description with some discount codes for your wallet. You're welcome. And thank you so much for tuning in. Peace. I'll see you in the next one.